So you know the platform IndieGoGo,
Yeah.
the crowdfunding thing. So they've just released this thing that they've brought out a marketplace. So they're starting to try and own more of the value chain. Once the entrepreneur use the platform for the crowdfunding, then once they launch, they've got a marketplace now to be the seller. So they're sort of trying to take market share really from like Shopify and things like that, I would say, like e-commerce setup stores. What's interesting though is they take really aggressive commission for it. It's like 10 to 15%, pretty sure roughly around that point. What are your thoughts on these platforms and also that move from them, which probably wasn't that expected?
I think the commissions, I don't really mind. It's like 10 to 15% for someone to help you sell stuff or sell your shit. Imagine what a normal campaign would cost in terms of cost per acquisition.
Yeah.
If you've got 10 to 15% of your product revenue going towards marketing, that's actually not a bad percentage. But how many crowdfunding campaigns actually spend the next 6 to 12 months figuring out how to produce their first run of product?
Too many.
Too many.
Way too many. Yeah,
And that's,
nearly all, which is impossible.
yeah. And then, you know, as we've heard, people in China just literally are paid full-time jobs to sit there and scour the IndieGoGos and Kickstarters and Possibles of the world to see what's trending and then build something in China and ship it before you've even gotten your first thing out.
Agreed.
Which is crazy. So I think that's the big challenge in the crowdfunding space, and I'm not sure tacking on a marketplace is really gonna...
It doesn't solve that problem.
No.
Yeah. If it's an app or software, you can't do crowdfunding. The amount of entrepreneurs we meet that have an app idea and they want to crowdfund it, like the whole concept is people are pre-buying, like it's a pre-sale, they're pre-buying your product. The first tip is, how do you fulfill on your product? You should have that in place. You should have a prototype. You should have figured out your manufacturing. You should have figured out how to scale manufacturing. And then crowdfunding can be, in some cases, and definitely not in all cases, but it can be a great go-to-market marketing PR stunt.
Yeah, I think use it as a launch campaign, but try not to use it as a, oh, we'll just do this and then we think we're going to sell it for $90 and we think we can make it for $40 and we think that's going to be enough buffer and enough margin. That cost always blows out.
The second big thing I'd bring up is like this marketplace tool does take a fairly high commission, so it's fair, like it is a really cool concept of like a online gadget store that's all of these coolest things that are actually ready to be shipped. It's a kind of a cool value proposition to the consumer, so I like that. But innovators shouldn't be reliant on that channel. You know, entrepreneurs who choose that path of using it as a marketplace should see it purely as a distribution channel. But if you're a consumer product, you have to build a direct relationship with your customer. And so they should be looking at other platforms like Shopify that takes you can plug in your own gateway and you sort of control. You can be looking at more like 3% or less.
And putting your product on IndieGoGo actually takes away from creating a sustainable business that is a brand in itself.
Yeah.
Because you're now just a gadget.
And we've seen startups die like this, right? They put all their attention into the crowdfund. They get a lot of traction, but then they haven't learnt how to get the harder customers, like real customers. Because trendsetters have no sustainability, whatever. They're who you have to find to get, you know, those pioneers to get something off the ground, but you have to learn then to get early adopters and early mass market customers. You know, you have to get those harder acquisitions. So that's a trap in itself. Because it's a false positive.
It's a false positive.
Huge false positive.
Yeah.
Oh my God, everyone loves our thing. No, these fucking crazy people that love new shit love your thing.
Yes.
But they're a tiny percentage actually of total consumers. So once you put your thing out to the big bad world, that's when you start copying bad reviews, and so you have to have that sustainability in mind.